So as I mentioned earlier, and so what we see here today, it's the fear and greed. So I identify some price actions that might be interesting to us, and we can dissect that, in fact, dismantle and find out what is at stake now. And you all can agree with me regarding this. So looking at daily time frame, we've been trading this for the past few weeks now, and we've been pushing to the upside. Last week, I did mention to us about price coming down, and you all are aware that I set a pending order that was triggered and actually land us in profit. And before the end of the session as well, we were able to jump in a trade as well that land us in profit, a trailing stop. So it was a beautiful end of the week. Forgive me. So now that we are here, my expectation now is to look at my H4 time frame itself and to see where we are at. So currently we're pushing to the upside, and we saw this price formation right now, which is probably dropping to the downside. And why is this occur? Now, looking at my um, 1 hour time frame here, I also see that we have more or less of head and shoulders. Yet, when I go down to my 15 minutes time frame, but I'll put it to 30 minutes for now. Yeah, I can see this movement here, and currently we can see how gold is trying to, get out from this zone. Um, Another thing that I do also saw is that looking at my 15 minutes time frame, similar reaction we had, and price push down. So my opportunity here is that my first of all area where I will be looking at opportunity, it is at here. This is where my opportunity lies for now, not above. So whatever happens above will be part of, stop takeout. But if I would be looking for a short time sell, I'll be looking at it from this zone here. And if I will be looking for continuation, of course, we'll be looking at it from this area or zone here. So we now identify our support and resistance zone that we would like gold to be trading today. So knowing this concept here, now what I'm about to identify here for me is where we call fear, greed movement. So since we have this, we now need to see that if the fear has been settled, or there is still more fear in the market, we're about to find out. Also, if there is greed versus fear, or vice versa. However, I am going to be looking for opportunity to see what we should be doing today, because we can buy, we can sell. We are not strict to one direction only. So now the question is that our previous levels that we mentioned, has it been tested? Yes, one of them have been tested. Previous one haven't been, but the one that we mentioned here was tested. That was a very beautiful movement. You can see our line was here. We mentioned that we want price to come down to that zone. So I left this line there that I wanted to come back here. So my pending order was set there, which was triggered, which landed at a nice profit. After, when we had this movement that closed us in profit as well, and price came back down and started to push back up. Now that we have aggressive move to the upside, the question is that if we're going to get the sell trade to the downside, or we're going to see a buy trade. Now, another thing is the old school style of looking at the market itself, and which we say that did you see the trend bending? Now, the trend is not bending, so therefore we're still looking at a buy trade to the upside continuation. But Yet, we may have a short time trade. So if there is, we need to find one. So I am going to be navigating around and to see what we at. So while I do that, I'm going to mute myself while I proceed and look at what we have here. And after I can discuss that with all. I am sure some of us already understand what we are looking at here, and you can tell what could be happening next, right? Based on what you can see from the um, 4 time frames and what you all have learned from me, and to understand that this is where we are at now. But is there anyone that doesn't understand this concept that we have right in front of you? I can explain. Right, that's fine. Looking at the chart itself, who else is looking at this chart and say that no, I still don't understand, and translation of all this movement here that we have and what I've done using the simplicity of our trend line. uh, I believe majority does. Well, okay, look, what we have here is we want a breakout. Okay, first of all, I would like to discuss that as soon as we have this setup here, I am looking for a sell. I am going to sell. So I am not going to wait. So it could be during our conversation when this price is going to move. However, I do wish price could come up again to the upside so we can have our neckline. Yet we have it already, but it is a very narrow one. So I'm looking forward to the price to come down a bit so we can jump in, come up a bit so I can jump in a sell trade when it's returning to the downside. But we'll see how this wants to work out. Although I haven't checked the fundamental coming up as well, which is very, very important that you need to consider, because I don't really concentrate on fundamental, but at the same time I need to factor that in because of sometimes when market will like to take advantage of fundamental. So I purely based on price action and sometimes volumes and distribution accumulation. And this is what I'm seeing right here. And so I'm going to take that approach. Using that concept of volume approach, I can now determine that we have BRC formations. And BRC formation is existence all over the chart here. And therefore, we also have uh, freestyle structural price action in place, which means we have head and shoulders here forming up, and we have a rising wedge here, which already broke out from. Yeah, and therefore we also have ranging as well, and we also have falling wedge as well. So I did not identify the falling wedge, but we do have a falling wedge right here from all the overall chart, in fact. Yeah, so when we look at it this way, we have falling wedge as well. So what am I trying to say is that I'm going to connect all of this price action itself and say that we have, first of all, I'll start from the 4-hour time frame. So if you look at what we have here, we have rising wedge and price broker from the rising wedge. So price may want to test the rising wedge and then drop back to the downside. It is unlikely that the price wants to push because of the setup that we have here. As I mentioned earlier, that the price action we have here is full of fear and greed that is in place right now for the market. Therefore, on my 1-hour time frame, we have head and shoulders forming up, a neckline in place, and we're looking for a proper right shoulder to be formed, and before we see a drop to the downside. Then on my 30 minutes time frame, we have falling wedge, which is about to break out to the downside, which is also going to identify a sell trade. However, it is likely that we may get a pushback up, and if we get a pushback up, I do not want 2915 and 2925 to break And if they break, I do not want H4 to close above it. I do not want. If it does close above it, I will consider why. Probably it could be sort of a distraction or decoy price action, because overall, I do not want to see price pushing over 2940 based on what we have right here now. Secondly, I did no sorry. Then the fourth one is the 15 minutes time frame here. So we have price declining, yes, to the downside. So I'm expecting now to look for entry to the downside. Hopefully that we can get a sell trade. And if price does breach this consolidation that we're looking at here, I can consider if I should go for a scalp trade to the upside or just leave it alone and wait for a proper setup before I jump on. So, but currently the price is ready to sell to the downside, or the price is ready to push up to the upside, whichever it is that is in place right here. So what I'm looking forward to is to see that at least my 15-minute time frame close above this very 2911 first, and that will make me start thinking of what could be the next reaction. Yeah, I am not chasing the market, as you all know me. I let the market come to me. So is either I come back to this area zone and I go in aggressive sell, all right, then I it increases my stop loss, or I allow the price to return back to my entry of a neckline and I can take it, or I can take both as well, based on how the market move quicker. So overall, I am looking at the sell trade, and my first target will be 2876. My first target will be 2876 for my gold trade. Therefore, I am looking further to the downside as well, that it is likely that we may be pushing lower than that. But of course, over the week, we will see, because tomorrow we're still going to be in this session. So we'll be able to see more of what the market have for us. Yet, if there's any reason why market pushes down now, we're about to find out as well. So I will navigate to see what fundamental is ahead of us today, so I can take that approach and consider the factor why price could this setup could also be um, editor. Yet, I also have mentioned to you a couple of weeks back when someone asked about head and shoulders, and I did mention what you should consider seeing most likely, and which will actually end up in good profit if you consider those factors. So during this session, if you see such movement happening towards, you should know that it is likely that this may be a proper setup or a fake one. All right. I look forward to see what we have ahead. So while we anticipate patience, and I will look forward to see um, the news website and look at what we have there. So I'm gonna go meet now. But if you do have question, of course, you can always push it in, and so we can discuss it together. We do not have huge fundamental ahead based on what I'm seeing so far, except testify that we have. Yet we have before this we have some fundamental already that was in place, and so we can factor that in. That was, first of all, was the GPP, and some minor as well before this. So it is likely that the market would like to take advantage of the hybrid session that is about to happen. So we may be seeing aggressive move. So I would not fall for if the price should push higher, I will not fall for the price. Instead, I will wait for price to relax back to the downside. So be aware of that. Okay, be aware of that. So that remember, I did mention to you I'm expecting a wing to the upside as well. So if that occurs, yes, it is fine. Let it go. Yeah, you can also jump on it. That's up to you. But for me, I would prefer to see why I should jump in a sell trade at that moment, so that I can have a room for my stop loss. How I like it. So I will be looking at that. Yet, if I see a push out to the downside aggressively, I am gonna jump on straight away as well by using my maximum stop loss, which is 1.5%, and to allow the price to go up. But that is only if the price still have a room for me. But if the price doesn't, I don't see the reason why I should enter that trade, except if I would like to scalp. Yeah, the reason is because I know that maybe around that fundamental, that is after our session, we may have some volatility that will increase in the market because of the fundamental. Market would like to take advantage of that too. So I may want to look into that. And if I don't have time, there will always be another day. Tomorrow is there. I will come back and see if I can get an opportunity. But at least I have what I'm looking out for. I know my parameters. I know where I should be getting in. So my entry one is right where we had right now. Possibly if price pushed below, I'm jumping in sell trade. My entry number two is price to come back up to test the high and look at other time frames to see how they react around that area. May help me decide if I should be going in for a sell, because overall, when we look at it, we are still in a buy trade anyway. Long time when we look at it. Yeah, so the momentum can favor the bullish. Yet, like I mentioned earlier, the fear and greed is in the market. So therefore, it is likely that we may be seeing some sign of bears here who's jumping to the market to take over and see how the bulls will react later. So we want to be aware of that. So I look forward to see how this price wants to. But at the same time, I'm being tempted to look for a entry right now, because when I look at it overall, I still, if I my pips range is still good. Yeah, yeah, my pips range is still good. When I look at it, I still have enough pips range to the downside um, to allow the market, to breathe. Yet, I'll be looking for a possible entry as soon as the market identify a possible entry. Yes, the reaction can be in a different form. So, but one of the presentation could also reflect what you just asked exactly in that phase. Yeah. So majority of this movement, or shall I say, the fear and greed, happens already in um, the crypto market already. So we had um, situation like this already that is occurring, and cryptocurrencies a couple of weeks back. Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's still happening now, but I do know that it does occur. So since my trade is I'm in the trade already. So I'll be looking forward to seeing if there is opportunity to jump in a new trade. If not, it is fine. I'll just leave this trade to run. And yet, I do not want to breach my stop loss parameter. So I want to check to make sure that I am still within my range of stop loss. So because it just because if we have a spike in case, and if we don't, it's fine. Um, that will still help me to make sure that I the trade in case if you have a spike to the upside. Yet, if it's to the downside, at least I'm going to secure my trailing to help me um, trade within this uh, range, not to stop me out suddenly. So I'm looking forward to a push to the downside that will really help um, to secure that entry. So I'm sure some of you might remember during December there was it December, early December or ending November, we had an opportunity some time ago, similar like this, and we had a price. In fact, I think we took some losses before then, and that day we saw the opportunity, and I said that we should be selling to the downside, which we sold, yeah. And suddenly I also, before end of the session, I saw an opportunity for a pending order to the upside, but also I also mentioned that there's a TP2 to the downside. So this is a similar scenario from that same day, and which is occurring right now. So it's going to look like that we're going to have a pending order to the upside as well. Probably is going to be off this market, but yet it is likely that the market would breach that sell later, that pending order later. So it's just to collect some profit from there. So I look forward to see what this market wants to look like anyway. So as to remind you, as it used to be, you all know already that you're in the Discord channel, that there's a disclaimer followed by this, that what I'm doing here, I'm doing it for almost 2 decades now, and it is what I do for a living. So therefore, you should understand that I already know my risk factor, and I know exactly what I'm doing. Yet, it doesn't mean that I am machine. I can do mistakes. So therefore, what I'm taking here is for my own advantage. So should you think that it's okay for you, fine, you're on your own. Yet, you should also consider me as someone that have diligently analyzed or confirmed what I'm saying, and whatever I'm doing here, I will always prove that it is reality, not dummy. So therefore, some of you can see the live challenge account that we are trading as it's going ups and down. Yeah. So as you also know that uh, there are a lot of information that is being spread outside this community about trading itself. So you should always make sure you verify the information properly if it's real or not, because not everything is actually the way it is in the market. The reality is the fact. So I do warn you on that. However, I'm not a financial advisor. So should you need a financial advice, you should contact your family, friends, or whoever it is that you can um, get this advice from. All right, as we proceed, I'm gonna look at older time frames and see how they're doing with this. Um, well, how they're responding to this 15-minute aggressive move here. So they're all sort of, doing the same thing, but at the same time, this can end up as a fake out as well. This can end up as a fake out. In fact, um, this can end up as a pushback to the upside first, and later, boom, to the downside as well. So what I'm going to do is to allow myself to move my stop. And if I move my stop, I want to see how the market will react later. Then I can jump back into the market. So I want to see if I see correlation between all the time frame. I may leave. It is likely that I will leave my entry um, this way. because all seems to be looking the same way, and I think all may close the same way. So I don't see this as a fake out. Instead, I see this as another new opportunity. Yeah, I still have extra room for my stop loss in place. I still have, for sure. Yeah, so I still have 0.25% to increase my stop loss. So we'll see how this works out. I do advise you all, whoever that jumps in this trade with me, should manage your trade accordingly. You know how it works, and don't leave your trade running without being managed properly. Traders, it is very important that you factor your risk management. Looking at the fear and greed in the market, it is the profit that I have here is more or less of um, um, 30, well, not 0.3% in profit already as it is going right now. When we look at the position of how the market is reacting, it is very, very important to consider sometimes in this situation and say, okay, I'm going to break even or not. Yeah. So, should you think so? Don't copy me, because my tolerance of risk is different from yours. So, therefore, I can take multiple and make it back as well at the same time. So I know where to exactly enter my trade and where to exit, and I take out fear out of my trading analysis or my entry. Um, so all I do is repeat the same thing again and again and again. So I always want to remind you this, that don't forget that our concepts still play a lot of role in the market, and yet patience as well. Patience is very important. So combining this, it helps a lot for you to be satisfied with what you have for the day, or what you have currently, or what happened today. No, I did not catch the GJ. I did not catch the GJ. I have been a bit under the weather, um, so I'm just recovering again. I over pushed myself since I recovered and trying to catch up with all appointments, and I think this fluctuation of the weather really, really got into my throat, and I'm having this sore throat. So I've just been taking it easy, trying to take more rest at the same time. So, well, that will be my excuse from not doing GJ. All right. It seems like the candle just closed, and if you look at the bar with 30 minutes and 1 hour, we have time frame correlation, which we can suggest that we have a possible correlation here. So we will be looking at a possible continuation sell. Yeah. Well done with your trade with the GJ one. I wish to hear things like this sometimes. It encouraged a lot that the effort of my repetitions is not in vain. All right. So in this situation, yeah, this situation that we have here, we if we will look at um, time to break even, and the reason why I would break even is because I want to look for a new entry. Yeah, I want to look for a new entry. and that's the reason why I want to break even. And therefore, I can also now put my stop loss in trailing, so that way I don't have to worry about my trade. As you all know, I like it. So then I can narrow to 5 minutes time frame to see what that time frame looks like. And I think there is a momentum in the market itself, so I can take that as an approach to see if I can jump in. But this one here, I'll be having a very, it's called candle to candle movement. Yeah, candle to candle movement. So all I'll be doing is to risk a very small lot size, a very small stop loss, and in the hope that price would push out and push to the lower side. But sometimes price can come back and stop me out, and the reason is because price wants to retest the breakout zone and only for price to come back. But because I already have my um, trailing stop, so if price should stop me out, it is likely that I'll be losing the same trade that I just won as well. So whereas if price stop me out of, let's say, 20 pips, it is likely that my trailing stop will be hit at 20 pips as well, which will get me back in break even. So I'm trying to maximize my gain at the same time, being a bit cautious about how I enter my trade. So I'm not entering because of fear or greed itself, which literary trader does have. I'm entering because I know how to maximize my trade, and if it doesn't go well, it is fine. There will always be another day. We've done this last week. You saw how we did it. Sorry, 2 weeks ago, you saw how we did it and successfully. And so we're using that factor again to see how we can, generate more profit for ourselves. All right. So in that case, and when price now go my way a bit, I know what to do by moving stop loss, my break even again. So majority of the time when you have a very good accuracy, it always works well in your favor. But sometimes it does not work well, and sometimes it can even go even badly. And so therefore that is why you need to have a less you need to follow your lot size management, which is very, very important. So that helps a lot. So majority of the time price will retest, okay, when they retest a bit, and you will see that jump to the downside. And because of we have this um, testify coming up soon, so market could give a sign, and most of the time those of us that we are selling, if we don't have a proper conclusive entry, let's say someone that just jump in where I just jump in my second trade now and put their stop loss here, it's exposed already. So therefore price will come back there and stop it out. But because of this factor, you can see now that my trailing stop and my stop loss are now being the same territory. So more or less I'll be in a break even when my trade returns to hit me, to take me out. But I can now wait for a new trade to come up, and later on, and I can sell again to the downside when the proper movement occurs. Yet the market can give us that movement right now where we are at. So, and it's going to be a bonus as well. So whichever way market wants to go, the whole point is that it's been trapped. So the market has an advantage, yet we have an advantage, and the advantage is that we can think. We can think. We have the knowledge. We have the education. Yeah, some of us may have the proper education. Some of us may not. It depends on where you've been or what you've been doing before. But the point is that you are here now to understand that I am doing this, and so why I'm doing this for myself, what is going on in my head is what I'm sharing with you. So you are not forcing me to do that. I'm doing that on my own will. So therefore, if you take the advantage of it, that's fine. If you see that there's a little bit you can grab from there, match with yours, that's fine. But the point is that we all should be successful. That's the goal of why you are here today. So, and let's make it count. No, let's make it count. the price is approaching my trailing stop, which is going to hit anyway. And if it hit, it is likely that it may hit my stop loss itself of my new entry. And if it does, that's fine. As I mentioned earlier, and by hitting my trailing stop um, and hit my stop loss itself, it'll still be an advantage for me overall. And I do want price to return back to this zone again, and if it does return, I'm expecting that price will go in a favor. So what I'm looking forward to see now is that I want price to come back up, and I will look for a new sell and to the downside again. So I'm waiting to see what this will look like overall, so I can prepare myself to execute another trade. Yeah. However, it is likely that I will consider um, um, uh, waiting for price to come back to where I do want price to come back to. For example, I want price to return to the upside a bit, so I can prepare myself or place pending order at the upside or to the downside. So I mean, I can allow price to come back here, then I will place a pending order sell limit here. So when price come back, take me in, because what I would like to see is happening at the upside. But if I see that what I would like to see at the upside is happening, and it's really strong, then I'll prefer to enter at the upside, or I can set my limit at the upside as well for price to take me in to the downside. Price did spend enough time around this low price here. So I'm looking forward to a continuation to the downside. And looking at my higher time frame, I still see reason why I should be going bearish instead. So what I'm going to do is to sell now and increases my stop loss to where I would like it to be. Okay. And therefore I can now sell to the downside again, looking to maximize my gain. Now if price chooses to go back up and stop me out, that's still okay. Yet I would wait to see what the market will look like again. But so far, what I'm expecting is that price should come back to this 28.98 as I mentioned earlier, which is tapping right now. But I'm approaching it with a very aggressive, because I do not know if price would push beyond that or if price would want to reverse now. So, but it's at where I put my line already, so I prefer to go back in straight away. And let's see how this works.